We lived in Rhode Island all our life. We originally moved to Texas just to try something new, to see if we'd like it somewhere else. But we missed home. We missed being near the water, the four seasons, the snow.
And one day we just found out, hey, I'm pregnant.
We basically decided after that to move back to Rhode Island because we grew up here. We raised our other two kids in Rhode Island, so we figured this one would be the best way to raise our son that's being born now.
When I found out Shalisa being pregnant, it was the happiest day of my life. I wanted to be close to my family. And I came back down and I got the apartment, the 3-bedroom apartment. It was great. High ceilings, big rooms, you know.
No one lived in it for a long time, so I was like, it was meant to be. It was meant to be our place for us and our kids. The plan was me and my husband would move down to Rhode Island while my kids would stay in school in Texas to finish out the school year. I didn't feel right taking them out of school, so we just let them stay there with my brother, who resided down in Texas, while we moved down to Rhode Island to get ourselves settled and situated. He was there for about a month by himself.
I was kind of lonely, you know. I was all by myself, not seeing my wife or anything like that. One night, I came home. I was sitting down in my living area watching some TV, and I look out into my kitchen. And I actually took like a 2-time look. It was just like a tall, real tall, like maybe 6'7", just dark figure, like a shadow. If I stand in front of a light, I look behind me and with a mirror on, you see my big shadow behind me. That's pretty much what it looked like real dark and deep. Is that someone standing in my house? And I'm the only one living there, you know? I didn't even have my dog with me, it was just me.
Brian shared the experience with his wife, Shalisa.
My husband would tell me at nighttime, he would look out the living room while he laid on the couch watching TV, and our living room faced the kitchen. And when he would look out there, he would see a dark figure just standing there staring right back at him.
I don't know, he was trying to play it off like a joke, you know, ha, 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 you know. I don't know if she believed me or not, you know, because, I don't know, she didn't see it for herself yet, pretty much.
I just thought he was overly tired, you know, and his mind was playing tricks on him. I didn't think that there was anything there.
When my wife Shalisa moved in, it was great. I was happy. There was someone there with me, you know. I wasn't there all by myself. I looked forward to coming home.
I loved the apartment. It was what we needed. I felt happy. I didn't want to think that it was anything wrong with it. At first, it was light and bright and happy, and then suddenly just started changing. The atmosphere of it really was different. I would go in the kitchen, I would cook, I'd hear something behind me, and I'd just brush it off, thinking it was my dog, or, you know, just not putting much thought into it at all.
But Shalisa suddenly felt a wave of negative energy wash over her.
There was this overwhelming feeling of sadness, of irritation, of anger. After my husband would leave for work at 5 o'clock in the morning, I would get up and just start cleaning the house. And I'd hear whispering from the right side of my head, which would be from towards the kitchen. Now, I'm thinking it's a TV. Maybe somehow it's projecting itself throughout the room. But it was multiple whispers. I could not make out what it was saying, but I could just hear the voices whispering inside the kitchen. I thought I was going nuts. I really thought, you know, I hear little voices in my head. I couldn't pinpoint it at the time what was going on.
The experiences continued to escalate.
Me and my husband were watching television.
Reliable sources say that chicken soup has proven to be...
I was laying down on the couch. I happened to look to my right. And I seen the same shadow figure that my husband was telling me about, just watching us. Wouldn't move. I didn't see a face. It was just a figure. I turned around to my husband and I basically poked him in the shoulder and I said, "Do you see what I see?" He leaned over, he goes, "That's what I've been telling you. I've been seeing the entire time I've been here."
And then that right there made me feel like I wasn't crazy.
You know, I thought could have been a light, it could have been something passing there, but there was absolutely no lights in my house but the glowing from the TV. There is something in here that's watching me for some reason.
She was frightened, my wife was frightened about seeing the shadow guy. And I was scared for her too, because I'm like, hey, you know, there's someone else in the house, something else is here. You know, it's just watching us.
It was about to get much worse.
I was in the shower one day, and I usually have the bathroom door open just in case I hear somebody knocking on my door. I heard like somebody's hand was wet, and it streaked down my kitchen table and made such a screeching sound. Fingerprints and a handprint streaked down wet on my kitchen table.
Shalisa searched for an explanation.
My door was dead bolted upstairs. There's no way anybody else could get in. At that point in time, I did call my husband and said, "Listen, I gotta go. I gotta leave. I can't be here right now. This is really freaking me out."
I came home that night about maybe 8 o'clock, and the marks were still sitting on my table. Of like fingerprints being slid down the table, you know?
I woke up one morning and I looked down. There were 3 bruises, fingerprint bruises.
Like little tiny fingers.
It looked like somebody came up from behind me and grabbed me. I couldn't explain it.
And she definitely would remember someone or something actually did that to her.
Unexplained bruises and markings could be unexplained paranormal phenomena that a person's experiencing from a haunting.
A couple days later, I realized I looked down on my leg and there were scratches also on my leg. 3 deep scratches on my legs, so it was very frightening. It looked like somebody ran their nails right across my legs, and their nails were very sharp, so it left 3 marks on my leg itself, on my left leg, on my thigh. I was worried for my baby's safety. I didn't know if what was happening would affect my child that I was carrying in my stomach. I didn't know if it was somehow, some way trying to get to my baby.
She wanted out. And I kept on insisting that, no, we can't. There's nowhere else we could go. You know, I don't have the money to get another place, and it's gonna take a while to find another place, and this is suitable for us. And I felt bad for her for saying that to her because, you know, I'm supposed to be supporting my wife. You know, and then I felt bad because I couldn't protect her and my child.
At this point in time, the progression was unbelievable. I mean, the bruises started coming, the scratches started coming. It seemed like it had a personal vendetta against me. I did go to my my OBGYN. The baby was fine. I was fine. There was nothing going on wrong. Everything was normal. That was a huge relief that everything was going okay.
After getting a clean bill of health, Shalisa would experience her most vivid and violent episode.
I remember one morning, my husband left probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock to go to work. As always, like every morning, I get up, I make him his cup of coffee, and I wait for him to go to work. I'll lock the door behind him and I'll go back and I'll lay down on the couch.
She said she was trying to fall back to sleep with her arm over her head.
And I'm just laying there. There was no TV on. There was no nothing. I was wide awake. All of a sudden, I felt something grab my hand and hold on to my hand. It was a very, very tight grip. It felt so real, like it was another human being there that grabbed onto my hand. Next thing I know, as I'm facing upwards,
Shalisa Carvelis and Brian Rodriguez had moved into a new apartment, only to find themselves attacked from the spirit world.
all of a sudden I felt something grab my hand and hold on to my hand. Next thing I know, as I'm facing upwards, I see something just start hovering right over me. I seen the hair, forehead. It was just levitating right over me. I blacked out because I was so scared. I called my husband up.
And she actually wanted me to turn around and come back home, but I couldn't.
At this point in time, it was the scariest thing that happened, yes.
She sounded very frightened, very scared. She didn't want to be in that house until I came home.
I was afraid for my baby. I was afraid for me because if it was just targeting me and hurting me, I was afraid it was going to hurt my son too. We needed to find somebody that could help us.
The couple reached out to paranormal investigator Jack Kenna.
My impression of them over the phone was that they were very sincere, very genuine.
I told them about the bruises. I told them about the dark figure.
During the investigation, when we got there, we spoke to the clients. We started setting up our equipment.
There's a green dot on there.
I got a device here. It's a K2. We have a few devices we use. I have a tablet that I use that's got an application called Ghost Radar. They left for the evening. And then we started to try to interact with whatever might be there.
I felt like, great, he's gonna do something for me. He's gonna take care of this. I was excited to see him.
Sat down, we started talking and just asking questions. You know, who's here with us? Is there anybody around here with us? We want to talk, we want to find out who you are. And I suddenly started getting a strong, heavy feeling. The room was light when we first walked in, but I got a very heaviness, and the room seemed to be getting harder to breathe in, which is usually an indication that something might be going on.
Devices can be used for spirit communication, in which an entity or a human spirit can manipulate the energy levels to provide yes or no answers.
They're trying to use Shalisa's energy. Yes. The response was yes. They're trying to use her energy. Her entire energy.
Another EVP device includes taking measurements from the environment, such as temperature, the barometric pressure, and assigns those numbers to a word out of a word database. And so it's believed that the spirit can actually generate a conversation or words in context with the investigator by manipulating their environment.
And that was on the Ghost Radar. And I said, well, no, you can't do that. You know, that's wrong. You can't do that. That's not good. And we caught an EVP, the male voice, saying, I can.
EVP stands for electronic voice phenomenon. This is when people capture disembodied voices of the dead.
You can't do that. At that point, we kind of knew it's trying to take her energy from her, which is never good. You can't do that.
We got back to the house around 12 o'clock midnight. Jack came in the living room and says, you know, I usually don't do this, but I'm gonna sit down and tell you. They did catch some EVPs and voices on the recording.
How about walking through this room?
All of a sudden you hear the voice in the back room say, get out. It was very shocking. The other one was about the energy, when he said, Jack told him, no, you can't have her energy.
You can't do that.
What was your reaction?
It was a relief. I was very relieved that there was actually something there, and it just took a big weight off my shoulder to see, okay, somebody else has seen it, somebody else has heard it.
They're happy to know that, okay, you know, good, we at least really know now that we're not crazy. We're not imagining this. At the same time, it can make you very nervous.
I was kind of overwhelmed. There was a dark, dark figure that was trying to steal my baby's energy and my wife's energy.
It's always kind of a double-edged sword.
Hearing the voice of the ghost seemed to bring the terrifying events to a new level.
I was laying down, and all of a sudden, the blankets came around me.
Rodriguez and Shalisa Carvelis had been experiencing paranormal phenomena in their new apartment. After calling in an investigator to help them make sense of the events, they heard the voice of the entity tell them it wanted to possess Shalisa.
That's not good.
I was laying down, and all of a sudden, the blankets came around me. Wrapped me up basically like a burrito. I couldn't get out, I couldn't move. I tried fighting my way out. There was no way. About 2 minutes passed, and all of a sudden, the blankets released me. I leaned over, I pointed to the door, and as soon as I opened my mouth,
I have her now. She's mine now.
I have her now, she's mine. It was what basically came out of my mouth.
Something came out of her mouth, but it wasn't her voice saying,
She's mine now.
she's mine now.
I didn't have control of what I was saying.
Demonic entities can temporarily possess people and speak through them, or there's sometimes more prolonged possessions. But basically, an entity is able to take over the body, the emotions, the mind of a person, the victim, and use that body to manipulate and generate different words or communicate a message to the rest of the people there.
I don't remember saying it. I don't remember getting up. I don't remember waking him up. Not being in control made me very, very frightened that I eventually was gonna hurt somebody or something, and I couldn't control it. And that's not how I wanna live my life anymore. I was very, very scared out of my wits. Because if he could do that to try to hurt me, he's hurting my baby too. And I didn't know what to do at that point in time.
The one person the couple thought could help was paranormal investigator Jack Kenna.
I went back to their home, and I decided to try a new technique to look for portals within the home. If you're near a portal, it'll start to swing. It'll kind of give you the direction of the portal. It'll let you know it's there, and it'll swing like a pendulum. And if it's very strong, it'll swing very quickly and very obviously. I found several portals, many portals within the home, more than I expected, and I found about 18. In this particular case, these were spirit portals where spirits can come in and out of. And the fact that the apartment was empty for so long before they moved in would only make that entity feel more that it's his. And whatever's in there is his. And that's never a good thing. So what I envision is a torn piece of fabric with light coming through it, and I'll sew it closed. And you do that to every single one. I also talk to the spirits that are there and say, you know, anything negative has to leave. You can't stay here, you have to go, especially the male figure. And when I started closing these portals, there was a lot of activity on it at first. And then nothing.
Jack was confident the spirits would no longer be able to access Brian and Shalisa's home. But the whole experience was just too frightening for the couple.
So we thought the best thing would be just to leave. Even if we had nowhere else to go, it would be better than dealing with this every single day.
Hopefully it doesn't follow us, you know? If it follows us, then I'm in that whole line of again. Excuse my French. You know? But, yeah, I just hope it doesn't follow us. If it doesn't follow us, I'll be happy anywhere else. Let it stay there, you know?
After moving out of their Pawtucket home, the paranormal events ended for Shalisa and Brian.